long to be ready, to put it that way.
Yeah. Well, let's see, what else is going on there? I'm trying to think if anything else is going on over here. Nothing really. Oh, I scuttled an old guy back to the dealership, and he had an old car with an Impala, and it was from 2002. And I said, look, I'm not a car salesman, and I don't particularly care for car salesmen, but you really ought to think about replacing that car. I said, it's going to nickel and dime you to death. You know, he was an old guy, he was a veteran. I hated to see him pour money into the car. So when I got back, I went looking for some of the salesmen I knew, but it was so late in the night that nobody was there. So I talked to a guy, and I told him the situation, and I said, you know what, he's an old guy, and he doesn't have a whole lot, but he needs a car, and I said, maybe you could talk to him. And the guy said, well, you know, I really like the Impala and everything, and he said, well, look, I've got an Impala here that's got 50,000 miles on it, and it's in real good shape, and I'll get it to you for a good price. So the guy bought it. Well, guess what? I get $100 out of that.
Oh, good man. My God. A good Samaritan. I read a book years ago called Good Guys Finish Last. And it's always refreshing when something works out on the principles we were raised, our generation. Well, that's great, Skipper. That is excellent. We used to call those bird dog feet.
Yep, they still do. I didn't know I was going to get one, though. I mean, geez, I'm just helping out a customer. So, yep, got a little bird dog feet. Oh boy.
That's great.
Well, now I'm beginning to wonder if Rod is going to be coming back.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. You know all about my feral cat, Bill, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Bill was gone 4 days and 4 nights. Remember somebody had put a flea collar on him last month? Well, I figured he either got picked up by the pound or got hit. But my strong thought and feeling was whoever put the collar on him, he comes down here and then disappears, so he's going somewhere. And I'm not sure where. They probably, after him being down here for well over a week, when they saw him, they probably said, oh my God, where you been? And they probably wined him and dined him, man. They probably got him just fattened up, and his water bowl ready. And he looked like he had a bath, because he's that tame now. He's tame with me and apparently with whoever. And I have no idea where he goes. I need to follow him. I put a tracker on him. Anyway, this morning, 5 days and 5 nights. No, that was the day before yesterday. He's gone a week. 7 days and 7 nights. And this morning, I'm doing my deal, normal routine. Let the cats out on my strange room on the front end of the house, and I'm looking, and here comes Bill down the driveway. He's about 100 foot from me, and I yelled at him. I said, hey, Billy, where you been? He heard my voice. Now, cats don't act this way. He started running like a puppy from me. He heard my voice, and he's glad to see me. So he went around back where the deck and the carport is, and he's telling me all about where he's been. I said, oh, yeah. He jumped up on the hood of the car. He got his rub down, his ears rubbed. But he looked like he'd been to the vet. He got shampooed and cleaned and brushed. It was Bill, but he looked like an inside cat. Somebody just absolutely took care of him while he was gone. That was a good Indian there.
Does he have part of his ear clipped off?
No, well, he's got a scar, but it's not a clip from being picked up like that. He got in fight. No, he's feral, and he's paying for me and somebody else.
Yeah, okay. Well, you know, if they take him to the vet and then re-release them, they'll clip their ears so you know that they've been sick. But there's a lady that comes over by our dealership and parks the car up on the grass and then brings water and food over for this black and white cat that rubs up against her and everything. You know, it's a feral cat, but it sure loves her because she brings her food. So, but I haven't seen her a lot lately, so I'm wondering if something happened with her.
You never know.
Hey, Dad, something happened with the cat. She's not coming along anymore because the cat is, responding to her.
We had an old guy in the, let me think about what time it was. I would say early 80s, down at Fort Tampa area. I was working down in there for several months on jobs and things. This guy would come down to where the shrimp boats and everything's at, and he'd open up the station wagon, and he would have a laundry basket full of old bread, hot dog buns. He'd pick them up at some day-old bread store or something back in the day. And he would have seagulls from the movie Bird, man. And he would do that about, not every morning, but I was working within a eye shot of him, and I watched him as he pulled in, and these seagulls were coming all points of the compass. They got to know him in the car. Now, I don't mean 20 or 30. I'm talking probably well over 100 birds. And I'm thinking, my God, can you imagine the heat he's possibly getting around that area? He was throwing out a laundry basket of buns and old bread.
Wow, that's crazy. I just don't understand when people go out of their way for wild feral animals like that. I told you my escapades with that old lady over here that she was feeding the cats at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning so that I wouldn't yell at her anymore.
Oh, man. Well, Captain Charles, he had a neighbor. It wasn't next door. I think it was 2 doors down. It wasn't 3 doors down, because they didn't like one of their songs anyway. But he called her at night. He'd go take a break on the radio. It was about 3910 days. And she was feeding them dry cat food and scraps. And he came back one night on the radio and said, my God, he said, now I know why I got to use raccoon properly. And he lost count. He had like well over a dozen plus big full-grown raccoons on her back porch area. He's just feeding them every night. So there you go. They create a problem so they feel sorry for them.
Yep, I had that going on here, and the neighbor on the other side of me was blaming us, thinking that it was because our tree wasn't trimmed properly, and so she's yelling at us, and she had the city out here, and the city had us trim our trees back and whatnot. Well, it's because the lady on the other side of us, so this is the lady on the east side of us, she's bitching, and the lady on the west side of us is feeding them all.
Well, I watched a documentary on raccoons a few years back, and they track them, and they'll travel in packs, 2 or 3, sometimes 5 or 7, and they run a route, literally a route, very accurate route, nicely. And they had like 3 of them. They track like a full, almost a 360 degree back to where they started, 5 miles. They had a larger pack in another area. They traveled 15 miles and got back right at sunrise. And they were checking outside pet bowls. They were going to dumpsters, to businesses. They were jumping fences, going to residential areas. And they had it all scoped out, man. Those animals were something else. Raccoons, I think they got a little more brains than they give you credit for.
Yep. Sometimes, it's crazy. I'm kind of dragging my feet in case somebody else wants to hop in there. 'Cause, you just never know. People come and go around here. So hopefully we'll get some people coming in yet to see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. Station 4 SSG. Oh, yeah, there's the Mackenzie Road. But remember, Rocky, he did get in the Bible. That's right.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I found a bug in my Radio Shack today, and I killed it. But I was going to name it John Lennon because it's a dead beetle.
It was a type of beetle?
A dead beetle.
Oh, a dead beetle. That's good. I'm going to use that.
Yeah, I made that up.